I think I think Kim is one of the most technically gifted players I have ever seen in women's football. Like I think the sort of consistency she has had over the years, because I think it was what 2008 when she joined Arsenal, just
Yeah.
a year after they won their first Champions League. 17 years there, going from a just a young girl to leading them to a second Champions League final, and doing so in what is the record appearance number of appearances in the Champions League for the club as well. So it's crazy, like the longevity she has had, the way she plays in the midfield. You know, it's very fun to watch.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of All About the W. My name is Kai. We are here to talk about the final of the UEFA Women's Champions League that happened between Arsenal and Barcelona yesterday. To chat with us about it, Yash is here. For those who have been following our Champions League discussions throughout the season, you've probably seen him a couple of times. And Yash is also, as we know, he does interesting analysis on women's football on his Twitter as well as on his Substack. Welcome, Yash. Welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, happy to be back. A big game to break down, probably, which you might have not enjoyed. I did,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I was just thinking as a Madridista, it must have been like a delightful evening for you as well. And of course, Ash is here with me as always. Ash, how are you coping with that result? We've been through like
Listen,
almost 24 hours.
listen, 2 days ago, the Spurs men won a European trophy. Okay, 2 days. I had 2 days in which I was a champion, and then Arsenal became champions of Europe. It is not okay. Anyway, it
Yeah,
is what it is. We are
I
sitting
know.
last on the table in the WSL as well. I mean, the non-relegated
Oh,
table.
yeah, non-relegated table. True, true.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get started, a reminder to all of you to subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like we want to hear from you, and we try to get back to all of you as quickly as we possibly can. And this is a big game. I'm sure a lot of you probably have a lot of opinions. But let's get started. Arsenal versus Barcelona finishing 1-0 to Arsenal. Black Stenius scoring in the 74th minute. Um, Yash, I wanted to start with Arsenal's defense because when Ash and I did the preview for this match, that's something we had flagged off as a weakness in their performances because we know in the last three WSL games they did concede a lot of goals, and they did look defensively weak from time to time against Leon as well, especially in that first leg, right? So we knew Arsenal needed to have like a perfect defensive performance if they had like a chance of winning this game. So I was looking at the stats: 10 interceptions, 10 blocks, 45 clearances. So many, players were reading, like many Arsenal players were reading the game extremely well. Some of the interceptions, like when we were constantly cheering the interceptions. For example, like during our watch along, and Barcelona had 38 touches in Arsenal's box, and there were a couple of moments where I felt like on a different day, maybe it would have worked out for Barcelona differently. Like a couple of headers from Payor might have gone in, or Aitana gets off that shot in the box. But Arsenal defended the box extremely well. So, can you talk us through it a little bit? How Arsenal sort of set up defensively and what their tactic was there?
yeah. So I had done a preview about this final, about how they can go about beating Barcelona, because City has done it, Madrid has done it, Levante has done it. Although like there were differences in approach from in between Levante and what City and Madrid did against them, but there were definitely learnings to be taken from all those defeats, because like with even though Barcelona is the best team in the world without a shadow of doubt. There have been vulnerabilities this season, and they have looked a bit shaky at times. So they were there for the taking, and if you can beat them in a one-off game, like that is your best bet. Over two legs, it might be very, very difficult, but in a one-off game, anything can happen. So I get where you're coming from, saying that Arsenal's defense was not the best because in the last three WSL games they had given up 12 goals, which is
Yeah.
not normal for a side that had just conceded 14 before that. So I think the part about that where they conceded 12 in the last three, I think it a part of it is also because of how mentally draining their Champions League campaign has been, because Lyon first leg they lost, had to make a comeback in the second leg. Madrid first leg they lost, had to make a comeback in the second leg. That has been the story of their Champions League campaign. So it is mentally exhausting. You can't play that intense game back to back at such a short notice. And when you play that sort of a high line, you can, when you dominate possession that much against teams like West Ham, or you dominate possession against teams like Aston Villa as well, you are sort of susceptible to those transition opportunities, and that is what happened in a lot of cases. They were
Yes.
caught on transition, but when coming up against Barcelona, that was not going to be the case. They won't have a lot of the ball. So what was going to be decisive in this moment was going to be their ability to be compact and their ability to be logged in basically for 90 minutes, which is a very difficult task when you don't have the ball. It's very easy to lose concentration. It is very easy to lose track of the players, especially with a team like Barcelona where there's so many moving parts in the final two-thirds of the pitch. So I think they did a commendable job. I think what they did basically was, if I have to talk about it, it was a similar approach to what Madrid did, like very, very similar. Uh, it was, in fact, like if you go about it, if you look at those two games, it was like exactly what Madrid did. On the goal kicks, there was slight difference in the way Arsenal were pressing. They weren't going at it at the goalkeeper. They were allowing Katakol to sort of pick a side, and then they would hound and they would cut the pitch in half and they would commit numbers and they would try to win the ball, which is exactly what Madrid did, except Madrid were slightly more front footed and more aggressive in their approach from the get go. So they would, as soon as the goal kick gets played, they would press Katakol into a decision, and that is how Madrid's first goal was scored as well. And if you look at the game, just the first 15-20 minutes, it gives you a very clear idea about what the approach Arsenal was going to do. And it is a clear vulnerability. Like Man City have done the same thing. They pressed them. What they did was, if they were unable to win the ball, they would commit a foul, and that would break Barca's rhythm, and it would create a start and stop sort of flow in the game. So that would disrupt Barcelona's momentum. Madrid, on the other hand, did exceptionally well to sort of suffocate them in the towards the touchline, and that is exactly what Arsenal did as well. The important thing, like you mentioned, the box defending part, will I think we'll discuss that a little bit more uh, later as well. But I think the most important part when you're defending that way in a 4-4-2 against that Barcelona side, the most important part is your midfield duo. The midfield double pivot of Mariona and Kim Little, they were exceptional, because a lot of responsibilities fall on that midfield double pivot when you're playing a 4-4-2 in a zonal mid block sort of system. Because Barcelona keep changing players in the same zone. Sometimes the same space will be occupied by Pina, sometimes it will be Alexia, sometimes it will be Bonmati, sometimes even Rolfo would be there. So it's very difficult to keep track of all those movements, and the midfielders are the main sort of players who are tasked to do that. In Madrid game as well, it was Toletti and Angeldal who did exceptionally well to keep track of those runs, and I think it was brilliantly done by Little and Caldente as well. They dictated where the ball goes, and they directed the possession in areas where Arsenal wanted, and then they created those numbers wide and won the ball back. So brilliant
Yeah.
job, honestly.
Yeah. So Actually, I kind of want to speak about the midfield as well, right? I mean, we knew that in a big game like this with two teams like Barcelona and Arsenal, the midfield battles are going to be decisive in some ways. And let's be real, Barcelona have a very frightening midfield, but they were pretty much neutralized for like large portions of the game, right? They seemed like they were out of ideas. I felt like, even before Arsenal scored, Barcelona looked pretty like lost in the game.
Yeah,
And we also saw like a lack of composure, which honestly, as a Chelsea fan, I've probably seen with Barcelona only once, which is in that away leg um, that we played Barcelona
that
last year
you
in the Champions League. Yeah, that we won. Like they were a little rattled in that game, but in this one, there were so many shots from the edge of the box, and it just it was bizarre for me to watch them like that. They looked so flustered. So I was wondering, in your analysis, what do you think went wrong with Barca? Like, uh, what happened there? And also, um, just as like an extension, I've also been wondering how you rate like Pere Romeo as a manager. We know that he's just come in. I mean, obviously he's been at Barcelona for a while, but he's the manager now. And like, what do you think about his in-game management, etc.? How does he fare on the Yash manager scale?
Yeah, just to add to that,
uh,
also because a lot of Barcelona fans have been, even before the final, cribbing about him. Like there has been some haters online. So just keeping that criticisms in context.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think where it all went wrong for Barcelona was the lineup. I think the decision to not play Brooks immediately set them back. I think that was the major one because if you like, I was rewatching the game just now, and if you look at some of the possession sequences, a lot of the times, because not to get too technical, but when you're playing with a midfield of two, it is very easy to get that midfield overloaded because you have a midfield of three, so you have that numerical superiority, or even your fullback comes inside and creates that numerical superiority. In these moments, what was happening was, Arsenal would commit somebody from the wide areas to balance those numbers in the center, and that would open up space in the wide areas for Barcelona, and that would require somebody like Rolfo to go up and be that outlet, so that Payor, who is uh, pinning the center backs with her positioning, is allowed to do that, and Rolfo has a free run because the fullback has also pushed up to sort of balance the numbers in midfield for Arsenal, and that would allow one free runner for Barcelona. And a lot of the times Rolfo did not do that. I think the decision to play her was based on pedigree. The hero in the last sort of final, scoring those important goals. It's very easy to get swayed like that when they played Wolfsburg, like the way she was there in the final, scoring those important goals. So she has been a part there. She has played her part. She has been in those big moments for them. So it's easier to get swayed. But I think this season, when you have played Brooks in that role, when you have shaped your team like that, and when you have struggled coming up against a 4-4-2 mid block before as well, when in that game against Madrid, it was their right hand side that was crippled because they played Marta Torrejon because Ona, I think, was injured or something.
Yeah.
So this is the thing: when you have your best 11 available, you have to pick your best 11 that has played well this season. You can't go for the moments. I get it, like big players step in big games, but you have to trust your tactics a little bit. And I think that is where they failed. Like immediately when Rolfo was on the on the lineup, I messaged a couple of my friends. I said, this is the left hand side is gone for them, because you don't get the same amount of verticality or the outlet nature that you get from Brooks, that you've gotten from Brooks this season. So
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing that they lost there. Uh, about Romeo, like, I'm not too high on him. I think a lot of the hate that is online, I don't. I don't validate that, but I don't rate him that highly as a manager, because a lot of the times he has looked a little out of place with his tactics, and even when you get the initial plan wrong, you have the chance to correct it with proactive adjustments. I think in game as well, we haven't seen that. In this game as well, the changes came in a little too late. The changes were like they looked like they were premeditated more than anything. Like he had planned to take off Rolfo after a while and bring on Bruce. There wasn't much thought about how they are going to tactically compensate for what was happening on the pitch.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, in-game management and I think the tactics as well. I don't really not a big
yeah.
fan, honestly.
Yeah.
I was
Uh,
actually, when I saw the lineup, like I was surprised as well, but he'd done the same thing in the previous game, right? Like against Bilbao, and I felt I was confused then, and in my head I was like, okay, maybe he's leaning on experience, because I mean, obviously I saw Brutes play there only in the Champions League, but I felt like she did an extremely good job in that left back position for a
Yeah.
winger, to be playing there. So yeah, it was. And also there was a moment in the match where Rolfo was on the edge of the box, and in my head I thought, if Brutes was there, she would have taken a shot there.
yeah.
She has her
Yeah,
classic SP Brutes shot, right?
and the thing is, like, it's not about playing the left back role, it's about how the left back role has been there for Barcelona this season. It is
Yeah,
not really a left back role. Brooks is positioned very high. She is the left winger. She's sort of just a pseudo fullback. You've got your Partey doing the defending at the back. You can adjust with that. She's an octopus. She covers everything back there, so
yeah,
you don't have to worry about it. And what they lost with Rolfo was exactly that, because they don't have that verticality. So when Pina was coming inside, they don't have anybody to sort of make that run on the left hand side, and
yeah,
that forced Payor to make that run, and that meant nobody was in the center to pin the center
Center.
back. So it was very easy. Yeah, it was very easy for the center backs to track Payor, because they knew that she is the only one making those runs. So it was
yeah,
very straightforward for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was screaming during the watch along. I was screaming. I was like, "Why aren't you in the center? You should be in the center." I
Yeah.
was just screaming at Pyre. I think it's just one of those things. Speaking about proactive in-game management, so Rene Slegers made a double substitution in the 67th minute. Now, obviously, 7 minutes later, the two combined to score a goal. That is Beth Mead and Stina Blackstenius. Now, because of the way things worked out, it's being characterized as a managerial masterclass. Now, what do you think about Rennie Slegger's in-game management? Like throughout the tournament, but particularly in this game.
I think in this game it was spot on. She brought the changes at the correct time because they needed a runner, because the goals were not going to come with the way like they were playing. They committed a lot defensively, and they just needed somebody to pin that back line, because Russo was acting as an outlet for most of the game. Like when they were getting pressured back or pinned back by Barcelona, she was the outlet. They would just play it long, and Russo would somehow get the first contact or win a foul or just hold the ball for a little while, and that would give them the breathing space to get back in position. But now with like last 25 minutes of the game, you need to go for it. You are
yeah,
not going to, you don't want to push it till 120 minutes and try to survive that wave of attack for another 30 minutes. It's not a
Yeah.
wise game to play. So I think that decision to bring on Stina was, it immediately repaid in the form of goal. But also, like, you see her runs after coming on, and it was evident like she was against some tired legs. Plus, she is quite quick off the field. Like her acceleration is really good in generating that separation, and she did what she was asked to. I think it was, this game was brilliant from Rennes Lagos. I think she understood her squad really well. She went with the best lineup that has given her the results and that has fit her sort of style of play and this particular assignment against Barcelona. and then she tweaked it up really nice to up the ante and score that goal as well. So yeah, I mean, kudos to her, really really good. At the end as well, when she brought on Ruben Moy to just make it a back five in the
Yeah.
final few minutes. I think that was brilliant. Like, that is game management. You waste a little time with that sub. Plus, you have more bodies to defend in the box now. So you get that aerial presence. You get that box defending. That that Barcelona is going to come at you. They are going to take long shots, and you have just more bodies at the back. So it was brilliantly done from Rene. Honestly,
Yeah, there was definitely also some time wasting dark arts being applied in the last
yeah,
5 minutes. It was actually quite fun to see. I thought it was a very mature performance from this Arsenal team. Like when you have to
yeah,
do game management in the final, a final is played to win, not to play, right? You just want to like
yeah,
do whatever you can to get through the 90. So like you were talking about Stina. Now, we have always been sort of criticizing her for being constantly offside. But you know it is true that she sort of like comes in clutch in like definitely in this game, but also she has a knack for scoring in important games, like whether it's the Conti Cup final, whether it's against Japan in the Tokyo Olympics. We like or generally her performance in the Tokyo Olympics. Like we joke on this channel that she's forever offside, but she's really become like the quintessential super sub in like these big games. Like she will not score all season, then she will find a way to justify her presence with just like this one big goal that really makes all the Arsenal fans be like, "Oh, Stina's our girl."
yeah. I mean, that is what you want from your striker. I don't care if my striker gets caught offside like 100 times. So, and I think I have a theory for this. Like, I wasn't like a big Stina Blackstenius person, but I think the hate that she gets for the sort of player that she is completely invalid, because that is
Yeah.
her style of play. She likes to play off the last shoulder, and the thing is, the part I mentioned about her acceleration, she is very quick off the feet. So a lot of the times it becomes very difficult to time that perfectly,
Right.
and that is why she gets caught offside a lot of times. I had written something about her. I haven't published it. Maybe I will sometime. But there's a clear pattern. Like, she's very good at making that run off the shoulder, and that is how most of her goals come. Like, and in games like these, in finals like these, I think that is very valuable. If you're able to generate, if you're able to time it once, if you're able to time it correctly just once in that final, it's game over. You're scoring because
Yeah.
you're straight up 1v1 if you get in behind that back line. So it's
Yeah.
that is the thing with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Also, we haven't. We I know you spoke about like Caldente and Little, and like their importance in the midfield. I just want to get your general opinion on. We are very much on the Caldente for Ballon d'Or train. She's won the Champions League. She has a decent chance with the Euros. Um, do you think it's a good shout, like because you know how, because we do, like you obviously are more familiar with La Liga F, and like uh Barcelona pulls in crazy numbers, so Barcelona players always have that edge in a sense when you're sort of fighting for a Ballon d'Or. What do you think about our Caldente for Ballon d'Or agenda?
It's good. I mean, I think she's a very fair shout, honestly. Like, she has taken this team to a next level. She has given them that sort of maturity in the attack and in midfield as well, because she can be played in that left wing role where she can come inside, or she can be played in that number 10 role. So she is that versatile. Plus, I think in the WSL this season, I think she was the best creator as well. She was one of the most creative players in the league. So I think it's a fair shout. Like, maybe numbers won't be as great as Barcelona's numbers, but I think with the in if you put it in context, everything, with the way she has led the side, in the final as well, there was a moment towards the end where she held up the ball up front. She took her time, let Barcelona players fall back, and then won a foul to
Yeah.
I think that was the difference between winning a trophy and losing a trophy. That these minute details, you can't teach them. It comes with with experience, and she brought that to this team that was desperately missing that. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout. I would love for her to, sort of get. She's a very likable personality. I don't think anybody hates her. Even though she's left Barcelona, I think all Barcelona fans speak very, very highly of her, and it's because of her quality, and it's because of the way she carries herself. Always ready to, sort of help the team, whether it's in a deeper midfield role, whether it's playing on the wing or in the number 10 role. I think she does excellent job. So yeah, I mean, I support it. I support it. Get her the Ballon d'Or, guys.
Yes. Yash is also part of the agenda now. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yash, one last thing, a word on Kim Little. Um, Obviously, she has been like such an integral part of that Arsenal team. She's just been there forever, an absolute legend. And I mean,
Yeah.
even as a Chelsea fan, to see another person who's just not hated, you know what I'm saying? Kim Little, you can't really hate Kim Little. So, um, I mean, Ash, I think, said in our preview that like Kim Little is like her performance is like a bit of a barometer for us to see how Arsenal are performing or what kind of a day Arsenal are having. So, a word on Kim Little and her performance, maybe.
I think, I think Kim is one of the most technically gifted players I have ever seen in women's football. Like, I think the sort of consistency she has had over the years, because I think it was what, 2008 when she joined Arsenal, just
Yeah.
a year after they won their first Champions League. 17 years there, going from a just a young girl to leading them to a second Champions League final, and doing so in what is the record appearance number of appearances in the Champions League for the club as well. So it's crazy, like the longevity she has had, the way she plays in the midfield. You know, it's very fun to watch. She's doing all sorts of roles. She's winning the ball back. She's circulating the ball. In this game, her role was more about winning the ball back and then keeping it with the team, giving them the time to sort of breathe, and she did that excellently. Whether it's playing those line breaking passes in the attacking zone, we have seen that in the past as well. She can break lines, she can shoot from range, and she can score, and she can do everything. She When she steps up on the penalty spot to take those penalties as well, she's really good. So she is a player that sort of at this moment embodies Arsenal really well and represents them really well on a global stage. I don't think they can ask for a better captain at the moment. The way she has led this side throughout the years, she has been a leader figure there in the midfield, and I think it's really really good, honestly. As somebody who has seen her for so long, and because she plays for Scotland, maybe she doesn't get as much recognition as others, because Scotland don't usually perform that well on the international stage. uh, Seeing her in this sort of final stretch of her career to be recognized as one of the best that she has always deserved is really nice. She's a very low key person. You won't see her anywhere, but on the pitch she is like a giant. She towers over everyone, and with her performances. And yeah, I mean, it's really good to see that I was really happy for Kim. Most of anyone, I'm not a Arsenal fan, but it really feels like Kim winning is really good for football, because players like her do deserve that recognition that only comes with trophies, with the general public. And she finally has that crowning moment with this trophy. So yeah, very very happy for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, I just
Absolutely.
have a small question about the WSL, and just the fact.
Farmers League.
No, no, I'm not going to say Farmers League. So I'm just saying that everyone is slightly disappointed by how easily Chelsea won, how
Oh,
quickly, like how early Chelsea won the WSL. But and not that Barcelona is like the pinnacle of success or anything, but just in terms of the fact that it's sort of recognized that Barcelona is one of the biggest teams in women's football. It is also true that this season two WSL teams that have not won the WSL have beaten Barcelona, City and Arsenal. uh, do you think, and I'm not, it's not about the Farmers League or not, it is, do you think that changes people's perception of how competitive the WSL is?
I don't know. I mean, we beat Arsenal. They won the
Yeah.
Champions League. We beat them in the first leg, and that
That's
too
true.
2-0 while keeping a clean sheet. So like these things, I'm not really sure. Uh, I think WSL is a good league. I think the talks about Liga FA not being as competitive are overblown because I watch that league week in week out. I know the way Athletic Club plays. I know the way this season Real Sociedad have been shit, but I know the way Atletico Madrid play, Levante play, like all these teams who have been doing great this season. Granada have been the story sort of. These are all teams. Like I think money wise, WSL is far ahead of every league. If you watch Bundesliga, if you watch Serie A, whatever league, I think they are far ahead, and that shows in the sort of the players that they are able to field on the pitch, and sometimes that reflects on the in the results as well. But in these one of games, anything can happen. Like I was said, like we beat Arsenal, so if you go by that logic, we beat the Champions League winner, so maybe we are better. We beat Barcelona as well. We beat
Yeah.
both the teams in the Champions League final to be honest. So
Yeah.
Real champions
Go
of Europe,
go
Real
get the
Madrid.
yeah,
Champions League trophy. Go.
Yeah.
maybe it was a
uh,
Madrid fan that stole it in the first place in Lisbon.
it's funny. Yeah, it's the conversations this has generated is just priceless. I've
Yeah,
been, you know what, I thought I'd be really sad when Arsenal win, but the reality is also that Barca had to lose for Arsenal to win, and
Yeah.
that is also bringing me a lot of joy. So the
Yeah,
conversations
because
are just.
I think it was between two teams I particularly disliked, and I think I'm not so unhappy with Arsenal winning also because Barcelona were so confident. Like, the coverage was just as if it's like a done deal, 4-0 and 5-0. And to be fair, that's what I also predicted, that, Arsenal would lose badly. But I'm sort of, I won't say happy for Arsenal, but I'm not unhappy for them either because I think Barca deserve to lose for their overconfidence.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm always I'm always happy when Barcelona lose. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
yeah. So on that note, we will wrap up this episode. A reminder to all of you out there to subscribe to our channel and also leave comments. Yash, thank you so much for joining us. It's been super, super fun having you on the channel to discuss the Champions League matches. Maybe we can have you on during the Euros as well. Um, if you do have the time, it'll be fun. Um, and yeah, I think,
Lastly, before you go, Yash, where do we find you?
oh, yes.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at Udriozolite. You can subscribe to my Substack as well, which is free. It's Dribbles and Nutmegs. I also am like I recently started writing for ESPN as well, so you will see me there sometimes. But yeah, mostly on my Twitter and on my newsletter. I think I post mostly on my Twitter only. Like anything I find interesting, I just share it there. And if something has a lot to write about, I write it in my newsletter. So yeah, you can follow me there and subscribe to my newsletter as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll put all of that in the notes on the video. Uh, all right, so we'll wrap this up, and I think we have a fun little episode coming up midweek. We'll put out some notes about it, and you can catch it then. We will see all of you in a couple of days. Bye bye.